on Sway Show, so I best to work on my one-liners. Still pray for that skyline. Boys, lift the shots at those one-timers that I just want to see hands in the air, my lord. Never thought rapping would keep us employed. Feeling like Pacquiao fighting with Floyd.
What up, everybody who talks boxing, comments about boxing, and makes boxing videos? So, we are on the cusp of this, I don't really want to call it a mega fight, but it's a fairly big fight, you know, between Triple G and Kell Brook. You know, as far as names are concerned, you know, it's not the fight that I wanted to see, but I mean, you know, you have two somewhat big names. I mean, I guess you could consider these the poor man's versions of the, you know, Canelo versus Khan. Even though I severely dislike Canelo, he's a much bigger name than Triple G. And I'm a bigger fan of Kell Brook than I am of Amir Khan. I used to not be able to stand Amir Khan, but I've warmed up to him. I've, you know, learned to like him to an extent. But I still like Kell Brook more than I like Amir Khan. But Amir Khan is a bigger name than Kell Brook. So, you know, this is basically like the poor man's Canelo versus Khan. So, but nonetheless, it's still two fairly big names. You have one middleweight going up against one welterweight. It's, you know, very similar in a lot of ways. Just when it comes to name recognition, it's been knocked down a peg or two. So, pretty much, not really anybody knows this, but I had actually agreed to a debate / table talk with Coach Shelton Harrison. It was I would say it was you know, late July that you know, we kind of spoke about doing it, and I gave him my phone number. And Coach, by the way, my number has changed. You know, just with everything that's been going on, my number ended up getting changed. So you can go ahead and delete that number. I'm going to go ahead and send you another private message with my new number. But, long story short, you know, anybody who listened to my last video, you know that there's been a lot that has happened. And, me and him never got a chance to do that. It was going to be somewhat of a debate, but not really like, you know, where we're trying to prove our points. More like it was going to be very chill, at least from my understanding, you know. And because I am a Triple G fan, but Coach Shelton Harrison said he would like to do that with me because he knows that I'll go into it with an unbiased perspective. He knows that I'm not just going to make excuses, and unfortunately, just with everything that ended up happening in my life, it just never came to fruition. But Coach, you know, if you still want to do something in the future, maybe on a different topic, I'm down. So I like Coach Shelton Harrison. He's a channel that I thoroughly enjoy. He's one of those channels that, you know, there's a good amount of what he says that I don't agree with, but I do respect his opinion, and I do think that he is I think he's a really great guy. I mean, you know, all boxing opinions aside, Coach Shelton Harrison seems to be a stand-up dude. You know, he seems to really genuinely care about the athletes that he works with, and He seems to really know what he's talking about when it comes to nutrition. Which, by the way, Coach, I think you and 68 Triumphant should probably, I think it'd be interesting if y'all were to do something together. Now, he's not really known for collaboration, so, if it's not his cup of tea, then, it would make sense that this doesn't happen. But if y'all were to get together and do a collaboration on, healthy eating and, I think that would be good just in general. But, just a thought. But being that me and Coach Sheldon Harrison are very unlikely going to be able to do this, this little table talk, round table talk, whatever you want to call it, about this fight, why it should or should not go down. Just gonna go ahead and give some thoughts, because I have a bit of mixed opinions on it. Now, at the very beginning, I was completely just against it. And at the end of the day, I still would rather this fight don't happen. But at the same time, there's other things that factor into it. People just kept on saying the belts don't mean shit. And I'm, quoting. People were saying he needs to fight somebody. So, Kell Brook's not a unification for the middleweight division. You say the belts don't mean shit. Kell Brook is a bigger name than anybody that Triple G has fought. And, a lot of people like to harp on Triple G's every word. Well, in turn, the Triple G fans can harp on every word of the detractors. You say that he needs to fight somebody. Well, Kell Brook is a bigger name than anybody else that he's fought. So, in a sense, he's doing exactly what you said he needed to do. And I do get it, because a lot of the fans of other fighters have had to deal with this, so now that it's that there is a fighter that a lot of their fighters' detractors are, getting behind, that fighter being Triple G. A lot of the Triple G fans are the detractors of, Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward and a lot of other fighters that, so now, these people that they've had to fight tooth and nail to, defend their favorite fighter, whether it be Floyd or Ward or anyone else, now they're kind of giving those fans a dose of their own medicine, so to speak. And keep in mind, I'm a Triple G fan. I'm also a Ward fan, but I'm a bigger Triple G fan than I am of Ward. So, but I like to look at everything as fair and evenly as I possibly can, and I get that. Now, I've learned that everybody's just going to have their own opinion. Everybody's going to like who they like. They're going to have their reasons. And whether you agree with those reasons or not, at the end of the day, it's their right to like whoever they like for whatever reasons that they have. Whether it be the skin tone or color of their skin, I should say. Whether it be, where they grew up at. Whether it be, just because of what religion they are. People like different fighters, for all different kinds of reasons. Their style, whatever the reason is. As ridiculous as the reason may be, it doesn't matter. It is still their choice to like them for that reason. So, that being said, I get it. A lot of y'all have had to fight tooth and nail for your favorite fighter, so now you want to put that, Triple G's fans through the same scrutiny that you had to go through. And me, I mean, it just amazes me how some people get so worked up just because people want to criticize Triple G. I mean, I've put criticisms out there of a bunch of other fighters, and I see the criticism of Triple G. You know what? I'm either going to agree or I'm not going to agree. But at the end of the day, if you and me talk about it, at the end of our conversation, I will have not lost money. I will have not gained money. I will have not, there's not really any real sense of pride just because I feel that I won an argument with you in the comment section. I mean, there's not really any real reward out of any of this. So I really don't see why people get all worked up. And you know what? I've been guilty of it in the past when I first started commenting. And even after I started making videos, I think I was still somewhat guilty of it. But you just kind of learn that, I mean, people are going to like who they like for their reasons. And they're going to dislike who they dislike for their reasons as well. I mean, it is what it is. There's no real reason to really get all worked up about it. That's why, I can listen to a Coach Shelton Harrison video, talking about Triple G and talking about all the mess ups that he's done and whether I agree with them or not and all this stuff. I can sit through a whole Coach Shelton Harrison video and at the end of the video, not feel offended, not feel like I have to defend Triple G, not feel like I got something to prove. There might be some points that I might bring up in the comment section. I might say, hey, I don't quite disagree with this and this is why. But me and Coach, we've never had where it's gotten anywhere near insults. At the end, in fact, at the end of every interaction I have with Coach, I think pretty much every time I've told him, you know what? I respect you. Keep doing what you're doing. And that's it. I try to leave him with encouraging words because, there are channels out there that they're really, for lack of a better term, cancer. But channels like Coach Shelton Harrison and other channels. Right now, I just kind of have him on my mind just because, I was just thinking about how I really wanted to do that collaboration with him. And, just because of life circumstances, it ended up not happening. But, there are other channels that, these guys are actually really good guys. But that doesn't mean that they're just going to fold and side with you. That's not what makes a good person. There's plenty of people who will fold and side with you, but really they're just snakes in the grass. So, that's just how I feel about that. We need to learn that there's diversity in the boxing community, whether it be the YTBC, the LDBC, Facebook, Twitter, any kind of social media, Google Plus. There can be all kinds of difference of opinion, but we don't need to be trying to kill each other over it, threatening people over it, And as far as like all this tension that has, there's been a lot of tension, especially since the end of 2015, and it hasn't really but it seems like while I was gone, just certain events occurred and it's caused the tension to rise even more than it was before. And I'm just not going to get involved in any of it, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's just some people some people just let their pride get hurt over just something that somebody else feels. And I mean, it's really just YouTube, you know? It's like I said, you ain't gonna lose money just because that person doesn't feel the same way about your fighter as you do, or about, you know, even if the statement that they are saying is very ignorant. Let's say they're just generalizing about a whole group of people. That's their business. I mean, if they're being ignorant, they're being ignorant. This person has a YouTube channel. They're not running for president. They're not running for Senate. They're not running for mayor. They're not even running for any kind of prestigious title in YouTube itself. They're just somebody who has a channel voicing what they feel to be true. So, I mean, just don't let it get to you. That's what I do. I mean, and if it really is that serious, I mean, you can just unsubscribe to that individual if you're subscribed to them. If you're not, just make sure that you do everything you can not to watch their videos. Because, I mean, if you really want to hurt a YouTube channel, best thing you could do is not view. And if everybody who feels the same way would just simply do that, that will actually do more damage to that channel. Because even if you don't monetize, I'm going to level with y'all. When I upload a video, I do check to see how many views that video is getting. And simply put, I don't, you know, this is a hobby. I don't, you know, I'm not getting paid to do YouTube, but how ridiculous would it be for me to spend all this time making videos just for nobody to watch, just for nobody to listen, just for nobody to care? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather have a couple hundred subscribers that actually watch my videos than have tens of thousands and only a couple hundred, you know what I'm saying? Only a couple hundred are actually watching, while the other 2,000 or 3,000 are just ignore my feed. You know what I'm saying? I like to actually converse with the people who watch my videos. I always find it funny when I got somebody saying, oh, well, you know, I've never seen this person before, but they'll comment and say, I always like your videos, I always enjoy your content. And I believe them. I mean, I know there's people who watch videos and very rarely ever comment. But a lot of times I just feel like saying, why haven't you commented? You know, like, we could be having conversations, you know, even if you don't agree with what I'm saying. I like talking about boxing. YouTube is where I go to talk about boxing. I can't talk to boxing with a lot of the people that I know, because even the ones who watch boxing are very casual. You know, when I went to go see the Canelo versus Cotto fight, nobody there knew who Triple G was. None of them. Not a single one. So that tells you, you know, they're just casual fans. You know, they were just there because of the Puerto Rico versus Mexico fight that was going on. You know, they only know the biggest names in boxing, like the absolute biggest names. You know, there's levels to the types of fans, and these were just about as casual as you could possibly get. I can't talk to them about Triple G. I can't talk to them about Andre Ward. I can't talk to them about Kovalev. If it ain't Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Cotto, Canelo, or actually that's about it. And a bunch of those fighters I just mentioned are retired. So, that being said, this is where I gotta go to if I want to talk to anybody about boxing. The only other fighter I could talk to anybody about is Keith Thurman, and that's because he's from here. he's from where I live, you know? So a lot of people are going to know who he is just because he's from here and he has, you know, made somewhat of a name for himself. And even at that, there's still a lot of people here who don't even know who Keith Thurman is. If they saw him walking down the street, wouldn't know who he is. It's not a knock against Keith Thurman. That's just the way that is. Boxing is not really a mainstream sport right now. It's more of a niche thing. You know, it's not something that everybody watches. When I was a kid, my dad used to have parties when he would buy a pay-per-view. I wouldn't even dare, and neither would my dad. We would not dare to try to do something like that now because it's not a mainstream sport anymore. It's very niche. And because of that, YouTube is really the only place that I know I can consistently go and talk boxing. So anyways, I think I've gone long enough. You know, those are just some thoughts that I have on Triple G versus Brook, and about just, you know, where the state of boxing right now, really more of the state of the fan base of the sport more than anything else. But anyways, to all my subscribers, anybody who watches my videos, or if you just so happen to stumble upon this video, hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace.
Be quiet and watch what you hollering. Yeah, my fans will eat you alive. Trolls get off on my page. My bars fly over their heads. I wrote that line on the plane. You won't see.